Well, we are now in the home stretch, folks. It's hard to believe, but we're now entering the last 4 months of 2024. But the hot new movie releases are not slowing down. To ease us into the back half of the year, let's talk about what we have left to look forward to. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host, Brett Murphy, and for today's video, I have a brand new top 10 for you all, as I'm going to be counting down my top 10 most anticipated movies for the rest of 2024. Before I hop into the actual video itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my top 10 videos. We are closing in on 100 videos currently on that playlist for you to enjoy, so if top 10 videos are your thing, then be sure to check that out, and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And if by some chance you don't, then feel free to suggest something you might like. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. Of course, as per usual, gonna put a quick little pause on this. I do have some honorable mentions, the movies that couldn't quite crack the top 10, but are very much so still on my radar. And those movies are Speak No Evil, The Wild Robot, Megalopolis, Venom 3, Here, Conclave, Red One, and Moana 2. And now, number 10, A Complete Unknown. Look, I can't say whether this one will actually be any good or not. I'm not a Bob Dylan fan, I've never really been a Bob Dylan fan, but I am a fan of pretty much everyone involved in this movie. Mangold has proven himself as a director time and time again. Maybe a misfire or two, but for the most part, he hits. Especially when it comes to his biopics. I mean, just look at Walk the Line or Ford v Ferrari. Timothée Chalamet as our lead has been continuously proving himself also time and time again. Most recently in Dune Part 2, so I have no doubts he'll nail this one as well. Elle Fanning has been acting circles around her co-stars since she was a kid. Then you go and throw in the likes of veteran actor Edward Norton, some underrated talent like Boyd Holbrook, Scoot McNairy, and Dan Fogler in there too, and it sounds to me like you've got something special brewing. Though I really know very little about the man or the movie, I have high hopes that it'll still impress. Coming in at number 9 is Beetlejuice, or simply Beetlejuice 2. Oh wait, shit, I just said that 3 times, didn't I?
It's showtime.
Call me a hopeless optimist, or a blind nostalgia freak, or whatever you may like, but what the hell. I'm happy to say that I'm actually kind of excited for Beetlejuice 2. I know, right? Words I honestly thought would never come out of my mouth. Not only the fact that we are getting a Beetlejuice sequel after literal decades of rumors, but that it has the potential to be good. Now, I am also well aware that this might suck. That's a given for any movie, obviously, but legacy sequels in particular have a very mixed track record. For every Top Gun Maverick, you get a Dumb and Dumber 2. For every Blade Runner 2049, you get a Space Jam: A New Legacy. We have Creed, Dr. Sleep, and others that hit the mark, but then we have Independence Day Resurgence and Zoolander 2 that miss it by a country mile and then some. So really, anything can happen with this sequel. Even the trailer has many people divided. Some people, like myself, think it's a return to form for Burton after an admittedly rough run over the last decade or so. I love how it's a true throwback, very much in the same vein of the original, with the zany costumes, over-the-top makeup, and practical effects. While many others out there blast it as a soulless, unnecessary, nostalgia bait cash grab. I have no idea which way it's going to go, but all I know is that I freaking adore the original Beetlejuice. And the fact that they went this route, bringing back Burton, Keaton, Ryder, and O'Hara, instead of doing a remake, reboot, spin-off, or whatever, makes me want to believe. We'll follow that up with number 8, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. This is an interesting one, because I am having a very hard time gathering a general consensus on it. Not that I need it or anything, but usually it's pretty easy to skim through some of the online chatter and get a feel for where people's heads are at. It seems like nobody is talking about it, like it's flying under everybody's radar, or maybe people just don't care? But if that's the case, then why does the trailer have 19 million views on the WB YouTube channel in only 4 days as of the recording of this video? I'm personally in a funny position with it because I love The Lord of the Rings. The original trilogy is not only my favorite movie trilogy of all time, with nothing coming even close, but I think it's a cinematic achievement that has not and will not ever be replicated or topped. I'm also a defender of the Hobbit movies. I just think they make up a fun, lighthearted, and harmless journey through one of my favorite fictional worlds. With that being said, I think this looks fine. I don't love the animation, not that it's not beautiful or anything. I know there are hardworking artists behind it that have dedicated their lives to this craft, and I wholeheartedly respect that, but it's just not my own personal cup of tea. I also think the story seems kind of bland, like just kind of a generic tale of revenge. Your father killed my father, we're cool, but I'm gonna go kill your dad, and then the other person, our main character, is like, well, I can't let you do that. I also didn't love this movie's trailer starting off with sections or segments of the Lord of the Rings movies. Can't we just let this be its own thing? Just jump right into why we're here instead of reminding us that the Lord of the Rings exists. Like, everyone that is going to watch this movie is well aware of the Lord of the Rings, trust me. That's exactly why it still ends up on this list though. I just simply can't get enough of Middle-earth. I will always delve back in whenever and wherever I can. Whether that's with the Hobbit trilogy when that first came out, the Middle-earth Shadow games, even though I'm not a huge fan of the Rings of Power, I'll still watch it because it's Middle-earth. So I'm obviously gonna go watch this one too. Running into that number 7 spot is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I almost put this video out before the trailer dropped, and now I am so glad I didn't, because this looks awesome. I'm a huge fan of the first 2 Sonic movies. I find them to be super enjoyable. With the shadow tease at the end of the second, I knew we were in for a treat with a potential third, and this looks exactly how I was hoping it would. And that's really all I need to say. It looks like the first Avengers movie, but of the Sonic universe. Reeves sounds incredible as Shadow, and Shadow himself just looks like a total badass. I mean, even Jim freaking Carrey came out of retirement to do this movie. I can barely contain my excitement, and all I can say is what a way to cap off the year. Number 6, and just missing that top 5, is Smile 2. The first Smile was arguably the biggest surprise hit of 2022. Based on the trailers, I was getting major Truth or Dare vibes, and that is not a good thing. I hated Truth or Dare, as did most people, I think. So Smile, to me at least, just looked like another cheap, shitty horror movie that Blumhouse was churning out for the sake of making a quick buck. I was so happy to learn that I could not have been more wrong. The first Smile had an idea that could have been so hokey, but it ended up being extremely well executed, with a brilliant lead performance from Sosie Bacon, an anxiety-inducing atmosphere, exquisite practical effects, and some very effective scares. In general, the movie was just pretty disturbing and made me feel uneasy throughout the entire runtime. This is taking that initial concept and blowing it out to a massive scale. A global pop star is now the latest to be tormented by this smiling demon. The potential here is practically limitless. Think of just how tormented Rose was in the first movie despite having a relatively small circle. Now you have someone with millions of fans and the potential to infect them all. Some prominent leakers in the horror space on Twitter have also been saying that the latest test screenings have been going over incredibly well, with folks saying it surpasses the original in pretty much every way. The trailer looks great and I can't wait. And entering our top 5 at number 5 is Saturday Night. I think the idea to make this movie alone already had my interest. Chronicling the first night of Saturday Night Live sounds like a winner to me. Then you start to dive into the history a bit and you realize just how chaotic and crazy getting SNL on air was. Then we got the first poster and trailer and I loved both. It seems to be capturing that chaos flawlessly, with a cast that mixes A-listers with up-and-comers. If you ask me, this has the potential to be something special and I will be seated. And clawing its way back from the deepest, darkest depths of hell to the number 4 4 spot is Nosferatu. Okay, it's a Nosferatu remake directed by Robert Eggers, the director of The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. It stars Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok, alongside Emma Corrin, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe, and Lily Rose Depp, among others. That's all I've got, because that's all I need. Taking that 3rd place spot on the podium and the bronze medal is Joker Folie à Deux, or just Joker 2. Now, of all the movies on this list today, this may be the one I am the most skeptical about. To make a long story short, I am in the camp that loves the first Joker movie. It was one of my favorite movies that year, and each time I have rewatched it since, I have enjoyed it just as much. Yes, I am well aware that it's heavily inspired by, if not straight up ripping off, multiple Scorsese films, but that doesn't bother me. I don't mind movies that pay homage, take inspiration from, and so on. But I didn't need a sequel. In fact, I didn't want a sequel. I heard about a sequel and my instant reaction was, no, why? Then I heard it was going to be a musical, and I thought, there's no way. This has to be some kind of joke. And now we're a month out, and here I am saying to myself, well, shit, maybe they're onto something here. Gaga as Harley Quinn, the musical numbers are merely deranged hallucinations from the mad star-crossed Arkham Asylum lovers, and if Phoenix's performance can be half as good as the first time around, paired with another score from Hildur Guðnadóttir, I'm so sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce that, I fear I may be eating my words with this one. And transforming into a giant number 2 is Transformers 1. Another one I was not expecting to have on this list, let alone this high up in the runner-up spot. The idea had me hyped up. As a huge Transformers fan, exploring how Optimus and Megatron went from friends to sworn enemies sounded kind of amazing. They announced the voice cast and I was like, well, damn, okay, I'm in. However, I then saw the first trailer and that excitement was almost completely deflated. I wasn't convinced by the voice acting, I personally wasn't a fan of the animation, it looked very blocky, very bland, and it didn't seem like the movie was going to explore the aspects that I was hoping it would. But, and yes, I am aware I have been using a ton of emphasis in this video, but every single early reaction I have seen from people who got to go to early press screenings have been non-stop raving about this movie. I mean raving. Calling it one of the biggest surprise hits they've ever seen, the best movie of the year, one of the best animated movies ever. Like, tons of wild, crazy praise. And not just from people that I would be like, oh yeah, they're just like getting paid for that reaction. Like, genuine mutuals who got to see this and have been just like, have had their minds blown. Am I expecting to have the same reaction? No. But if that many people had been that impressed, then the team at Paramount must have put together something that's at least half decent. So I'm back on the hype train. I'm being careful to not set the bar too high, but the height has been inflated back up since that initial trailer. And number 1, claiming the gold in the middle of the Coliseum screaming, "Are you not entertained?" is Gladiator 2. And to round us out is another big question mark, Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2. A sequel to Gladiator has been rumored for a long time. However, everyone has always wondered how they would even do a sequel given how the first movie ends. Well, now we know. And I am also well aware that people are review bombing the trailer all because of a rap song, which I personally think is childish and ridiculous. Not the song, the review bombing. It's stupid. I personally wasn't bothered by the music because it was intercut with the dramatic score and it suited the movie well enough. And I mean, either way, it's just a song in a trailer. But getting that out of the way, I think this movie looks bloody phenomenal. Could it suck? Yeah, for sure. No one really wanted a Gladiator sequel. The first one holds such a special place in pop culture and movie history, plus Ridley has been very hit or miss throughout his whole career, really, but especially as of late. A lot of people complain that the trailer looked too artificial, but all it takes is a quick scan of social media, and you will see very quickly that the budget for this movie absolutely ballooned thanks to the massive practical sets Ridley had made. Not to mention, I hate to break it to some people, but we don't actually live in ancient Rome anymore, so I don't really know what you were expecting. But I am really rooting for this movie. I love the cast, I love Ridley, I think it looks great based on the trailer, but I'm definitely worried for them. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. People might hate it, maybe it flops at the box office, maybe I might hate it. But on the flip side, maybe this is a huge win for Ridley and everyone involved. Maybe the reviews are immaculate, maybe it blows up at the box office. Only time will tell. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my ranking. While you're at it, don't forget to let me know what your top 10 most anticipated movies for the rest of the year are. As a reminder, this is the revamped BAM2 Movies, and it is your one-stop for everything movies. Be it top 10s like this one, versus videos, video essays, ranking videos, tier list videos, I have it all and so much more, along with your daily nerdy news wrap-ups. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that little bell icon so you don't miss a thing. As always, folks, I thank you all so very much for watching. Stay happy, healthy, and safe out there. From myself and the rest of the BAMTube team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, and that's a wrap.